My girlfriend mocked, "Going back to school at your age? How embarrassing." When I started my master's program, I said, "You're right." Then I graduated summa cum laude, got promoted to her dream position at her company, and became her new boss. Her first day reporting to me was, I, 32 male, never imagined I'd be someone's boss at a Fortune 500 company, especially not Veronica's, 29. But here we are. 3 years ago, I was working as a mid-level data analyst at TechVault Industries, making decent money but feeling stuck. Veronica worked in strategic planning at the same company, different department, 3 floors up. We met at a company mixer, hit it off over overpriced cocktails and complaints about corporate bureaucracy. She was ambitious, I'll give her that. Always talking about her 5-year plan, her trajectory to senior management, how she was going to be VP by 35. I admired it at first. The confidence, the drive. I was just happy doing my spreadsheets and going home. About a year into dating, I mentioned wanting to go back for my master's in business analytics. The program at State University had evening classes, and the company would reimburse 80% of tuition. Seemed like a no-brainer. Her reaction? She literally laughed. "Danny, you're 30? 30? You really want to be the old guy in class with a bunch of 22-year-olds? It's a professional program. Most students are working adults." She scrolled through her phone while talking. "Just seems kinda desperate, you know? Like you missed your chance and now you're trying to recapture your youth or whatever. Or I'm trying to advance my career? Babe, let's be real. You've been in the same role for 4 years. Maybe this is just where you're meant to be. Not everyone can be leadership material, and that's okay." The condescension dripped like honey. But what really got me was when she shared this at dinner with her friends 2 weeks later. "Danny's having his little midlife crisis early," she announced to the table. "Wants to go back to school. Can you imagine? He'll be there with his little backpack and homework while I'm getting promoted to senior manager." Her friend Brittany giggled. "That's actually kinda cute though, like a dad trying to be cool." "Right?" Veronica laughed. "I told him to just focus on supporting my career instead. When I make VP, he won't need a master's anyway." I sat there, eating my overpriced salmon, and made a decision. "You know what? You're absolutely right." She patted my hand. "See, you just needed perspective." I enrolled the next day. Update 1. The first semester was rough, not gonna lie. Working full-time and taking 3 courses meant I was exhausted constantly. Veronica made sure to remind me. "You look tired, babe. Maybe you should drop a class?" "I'm good. It's just, I'm worried about you and us. You're never available anymore. Last night you missed Brittany's engagement party to study." "I had a final project due." She sighed dramatically. "This is what I was afraid of. You're letting this little experiment affect our relationship." Little experiment. That's what she called it. Meanwhile, she was thriving. Got that senior manager promotion she wanted, started managing a team of 8. Every dinner became a TED Talk about her leadership philosophy and how she was transforming the department culture. One night, she found me studying at 2 a.m. "This is pathetic, Danny. You're killing yourself for what? A piece of paper?" "It's more than that." "Is it though? You know Tom from my team? He's 26, no masters, and just got promoted to senior analyst. Meanwhile, you're here memorizing formulas like it's high school." She wasn't wrong about Tom. Kid was smart. But what Veronica didn't know was that my statistics professor, Dr. Hoffman, was a consultant for our company. He'd noticed my work, started mentoring me, started introducing me to people. "Keep at it, Danny," he told me after class one night. "Your applied project on predictive modeling, I showed it to some friends in industry. They're impressed." But I didn't tell Veronica any of this, just kept my head down, kept studying, kept taking her condescension with a smile. The worst part was when she'd introduce me at company events. "This is Danny, my boyfriend. He's going through a bit of a phase, decided to go back to school. We're being supportive, aren't we?" The pity looks from her colleagues were awesome. Really great for the self-esteem. Update 2. Year 2 of the program. Something interesting happened. Our company announced a new position. Director of Business Intelligence. It was basically Veronica's dream job. Reported directly to the C-suite, managed a cross-functional team, base salary of $165K. She was vibrating with excitement. Spent weeks on her application, practiced her presentation every night. This is it, babe. This is my moment. Once I get this, I'll be the youngest director in company history. That's great, V. You could be a little more enthusiastic. This affects you too. Director's girlfriend sounds way better than whatever you are now. Whatever I was now. Cool. What she didn't know was that Professor Hoffman had recommended me for something else, a part-time consulting internship with Aperture Consulting, the firm our company hired for major strategic initiatives. It was supposed to be for PhD candidates, but he pulled strings. I didn't tell her. When I had to leave for consulting meetings, I said I had study groups. When I was building comprehensive analytics frameworks for Fortune 100 clients, she thought I was doing homework. The managing partner at Aperture, Diane, became another mentor. You have a gift for translating complex data into executive-level insights, she told me. Ever consider consulting full-time? Maybe after graduation. Well, we have relationships with TechVault. Lot of movement between our firms. Keep that in mind. Meanwhile, Veronica's interview for director was approaching. She practiced on me constantly, even though she made it clear she didn't think I could really help. Just pretend to be an executive and ask me hard questions. What's your approach to integrated data governance across disparate systems? She blinked. That's what? Just ask normal questions, Danny, like about leadership and synergy and stuff. The interview was on a Thursday. She came home devastated. They asked all this technical stuff about Python and R and predictive modeling. Since when do directors need to know that? Technology's changing. Leaders need to understand the tools. Whatever. I'll get the next one. She didn't get the job. Some external candidate did. She spent the next week calling it politics and boys club BS. Update 3: I graduated in December. Summa cum laude, 4.0 GPA. Veronica didn't come to the ceremony. Babe, it's just a master's graduation. It's not like it's your PhD or something actually impressive. Plus, I have that strategy retreat. The strategy retreat was at a local hotel. But, okay, what she missed was the Dean's Award for Excellence. What she missed was the 3 job offers I received that day from executives who attended. What she missed was Diane from Aperture pulling me aside. So interesting news. We're being acquired by TechVault. They want to bring our expertise in-house, and they want me to build the new business intelligence division. My heart stopped. The director position that was posted? That's being restructured. They want something bigger. A VP of Business Intelligence overseeing 3 directors. Danny, she smiled. They want me to recommend someone who understands both companies, has the technical skills and the strategic vision. Diane, I'm just finishing my master's. With a perfect GPA, plus 18 months of consulting experience with us. Plus 4 years at TechVault with stellar reviews. Plus recommendations from every professor and client you've worked with. I couldn't breathe. VP? But I'm young? So what? You're brilliant. And more importantly, you're ready. The interview process took 2 weeks. I told Veronica I was working on a special project for graduation. She barely looked up from her laptop. That's nice, babe. Hey, when you're done with your little project, can you pick up my dry cleaning? I got the call on a Tuesday. VP of Business Intelligence. Base salary of $240K plus bonuses. Stock options. Company car. Reporting directly to the Chief Technology Officer. And here's the kicker. The restructuring meant absorbing part of strategic planning into my division, including Veronica's team. Update 4: I accepted the position but negotiated a start date after the holidays. Told Veronica I was taking a break after graduation, maybe considering my options. Finally, she said, you've been so boring with all that studying, we can actually have a life again. HR kept everything confidential at my request. The announcement would come the first Monday back. That weekend, Veronica was buzzing about work. Big announcement Monday. Rumor is they finally hired the VP of Business Intelligence. Hope they're not another outside hire who doesn't understand our culture. I'm sure they'll be fine. You don't get it, babe. This person will be my boss's boss. They could make or break my career. I need to make a good impression immediately. Sunday night, she spent 3 hours picking out her outfit. Professional but approachable, confident but not threatening. God, I hate having to manage up like this. Just be yourself, she snorted. That's what people who don't have careers say, Danny. Monday morning, I left early. Told her I had a dentist appointment. I arrived at the office at 7 a.m. My new assistant, Jerome, had already set up my office on the executive floor. The CTO, Marcus, stopped by. Ready for this? Ready as I'll ever be. The announcement goes out at 8:30, department meeting at 9. Legal wants to make sure you know your relationship with Miss Chen needs to be disclosed to HR immediately. Already done, filed the paperwork Friday. The email went out at 8:30 sharp. I watched from my office window as people throughout the building checked their phones and computers. At 8:33, my phone exploded. Veronica calling. I declined. She called again and again. Text, what the actual F? Is this a joke? Text, Danny, answer your phone. Text, there's another Danny Williams, right? At 8:55, I walked into the conference room. 43 people from the combined departments. Veronica was in the third row, face completely white. Good morning, everyone. I'm Danny Williams, your new VP of Business Intelligence. You could have heard a pin drop. I know some of you, and I look forward to meeting the rest. We have an exciting opportunity to transform how this company uses data to drive strategic decisions. I went through my presentation. 20 minutes on vision, strategy, immediate changes. Professional. Focused. Not once did I look directly at Veronica, though I could feel her staring. Questions. Tom, the 26-year-old she'd compared me to, raised his hand. Will our reporting structure change? Yes, org charts will be distributed this afternoon. However, I can confirm that strategic planning will now have a dotted line reporting relationship to BI. Someone else. What about our current projects? Everything continues as normal for now. We'll be doing one-on-ones this week to assess and potentially reallocate resources. The meeting ended. People filed out, many stopping to introduce themselves. Veronica stayed seated until the room was empty except for us. What the hell, Danny? We should discuss this in my office. Your office? Veronica, we're at work. Please maintain professionalism. Her face went from white to red. Professionalism? You've been lying to me. I've been studying, getting my degree, advancing my career, exactly what I said I was doing. You said you were taking basic classes? No, you assumed that. You never once asked about my coursework, my grades, my projects. You were too busy calling it embarrassing and pathetic. She stood up, shaking. So what, this was all some sick revenge plot? No, this was me investing in myself while you mocked me for it. The fact that I'm now your boss's boss is just ironic. We're done, you know that, right? We're so done. I figured, HR has the disclosure paperwork. We'll need to maintain professional boundaries regardless. She stormed toward the door, then turned. You planned this. You deliberately humiliated me. Veronica, you humiliated yourself every time you called my education embarrassing. Every time you introduced me as going through a phase. Every time you told people I wasn't leadership material. I was trying to be realistic. No, you were being condescending. And now you report to someone you thought wasn't good enough. That must be, what's the word you used? Embarrassing? Update 5. The breakup was immediate and messy. She moved out that night, showed up with her brother and Brittany to get her stuff. Made a big production of it. 3 years, Danny. 3 years I wasted on you. Okay, you're a manipulative sociopath. Okay. Everyone at work thinks you're a snake. That's interesting, considering the dozen congratulations messages I got today. Brittany chimed in. You should be ashamed. Dating your subordinate is like harassment or something. We were dating before I became her boss's boss. Also, she's not my direct report. Also, everything is documented with HR. Also, please get your facts straight before making legal accusations. The brother tried to get in my face. You think you're hot stuff now? I think I'm someone who worked hard for 2 years while your sister belittled me. Now please take her things and leave. At work, it was interesting. Veronica immediately requested a transfer to another department. Denied. There were no openings at her level. She then tried to go to HR about our hostile work environment. HR's response, Mr. Williams has been completely professional. He disclosed the relationship immediately upon accepting the position. If you have specific instances of inappropriate behavior, please document them. She didn't have any. What she did have was an attitude problem. Started coming in late, leaving early, missing meetings. I documented everything, forwarded to HR and her direct manager, Antonio. Week 3, Antonio came to my office. Veronica's performance is becoming an issue. I'm aware. How would you like to proceed? She's talented, but this situation, it's affecting the whole team. Performance improvement plan, 90 days. If she can't maintain professional standards, we'll revisit, he nodded. Fair. Danny? For what it's worth, the team respects how you've handled this. You haven't bad-mouthed her, haven't retaliated, it's noticed. Meanwhile, Veronica started a whisper campaign. Told anyone who'd listen that I'd manipulated my way to the top. That I'd used her for inside information. The problem? People had eyes. They saw me earning my degree. They saw my consulting work. They saw the improvements I was already making to our data infrastructure. Month 2 in the role, I implemented a new analytics platform that saved the company $2.8 million annually. The CEO mentioned it in the quarterly all-hands. This is the kind of innovation we need. Danny Williams and his team are setting the standard. Veronica was in the audience. I heard she left early that day. Update 6. 3 months into my role, Veronica's PIP was failing. She'd missed several deadlines, alienated her team members, and Antonio was at his wit's end. She's brilliant when she wants to be, he told me, but she's checked out. What do you recommend? Honestly, she needs to move on. This isn't working. I called her into my office that afternoon. First time we'd been alone since the breakup. Veronica, please sit. She sat, arms crossed, radiating hostility. Your PIP review is tomorrow. Antonio's recommendation is termination. Her face went pale. You're firing me? I'm not doing anything. Your performance is, however, I have an alternative. I slid a paper across the desk. Aperture Consulting is looking for a strategic planning manager. Similar salary to here, good benefits. Diane, the managing partner, is willing to interview you based on your resume. She stared at the paper. Why would you help me? Because despite everything, you're talented. You're just not able to perform here anymore, and that's partly my fault for accepting this position knowing our history. Partly. Mostly your fault for treating me like garbage for 2 years, but I'm trying to be magnanimous. She actually laughed. A small, bitter laugh, magnanimous. Using big words now that you're important? I've always had a solid vocabulary, you just never listened when I talked. She took the paper. If I take this interview, you resign. 2 weeks notice, transition your projects properly, leave with dignity and a neutral reference. And if I don't, tomorrow's PIP review proceeds as planned. She stood up. You really planned all this, didn't you, from the beginning? No, Veronica. I planned to better myself. You planned to keep me small. Guess which plan worked out? She interviewed at Aperture that week, got the job, put in her notice the following Monday. Her last day, she stopped by my office. I got the job. Congratulations. You know what the messed up part is? I actually learned something from you. Oh? Yeah. Then I'm an idiot. I had someone willing to grow and invest in themselves, and I mocked them for it. I had someone brilliant and ambitious, and I tried to make them feel small. Past tense, Veronica. Had, she nodded. Yeah, past tense. She turned to leave, then stopped. For what it's worth, you're a good VP. The team respects you. You earned this. I know. Final update. It's been a year now since I graduated. 18 months since Veronica first mocked me for going back to school. She's doing well at Aperture, from what I hear. Diane says she's humbled, focused, producing good work. Maybe she learned something. Maybe not. Not my concern anymore. My division just got approved for a 40% budget increase. We're hiring 15 new analysts. The predictive model we built is being implemented company-wide. The CTO is talking about grooming me for his role when he retires in 3 years. Dating? Yeah, I'm seeing someone. Natasha from legal. She's getting her MBA at night school. I help her study, celebrate her victories, attend every presentation. Wild concept, right? Supporting your partner's growth? Veronica was right about one thing. Not everyone is leadership material. But she was wrong about who fell into which category. Last week, I was invited to speak at State University's graduation. Told the new grads my story, working full-time, dealing with doubters, pushing through. People will try to make you feel small for wanting more, I said. They'll call you embarrassing, pathetic, desperate. But here's the thing. The only embarrassing thing is staying stagnant to make others comfortable with their own mediocrity. Got a standing ovation. Sometimes I think about that dinner 3 years ago, when Veronica and her friends laughed at the idea of me going back to school. How certain she was that she'd be VP while I'd be supporting her career from the sidelines. Funny how things work out. To anyone dealing with a partner who belittles your ambitions, they're telling you who they are. Believe them, then prove them wrong, not for revenge, but for yourself. And if you happen to become their boss in the process, well, that's just the universe having a sense of humor. Class dismissed.